Well, here we are in Capitan, New Mexico. We are at the Smokey Bear Historical Park. Yes, there actually was a real Smokey Bear. Not the one that you see on TV that only you can prevent forest fires. This was modeled after the bear, Smokey Bear, and he is actually buried here. So we're going to go here and check that out. And they got a little baby museum here on the inside. I think it's pretty much all about, you know, preventing forest fire, Forest Service type stuff. And then they got a little, I guess it's like, I don't know what it's called, a little walk around atrium-ish, I don't know what the word is. Anyway, a little park out in the back, and that's where his gravesite is. And they got his history in there, so we're going to go in there and check that out.
A few moments later.
The forest. Its cool green shelter is home to all manner of life. Plants, insects, large animals, small, and once, in nearby Lincoln National Forest, to a bear cub known as Smokey. Smokey's story goes hand in hand with that of the forest, where every day and every season bring change. A seedling sprouts. Migrating birds explore. Streams widen and then narrow. Weather too inhabits the forest. Sunlight searches out hidden plants. Or clouds thicken, building to a stormy climax of life-giving rain.
I tried to come in here the other day.
Sometimes weather transforms the forest, especially lightning-sparked wildfires. Within hours, a shaded grove becomes a desolate stretch of stones.
I need to get my little books. Yeah.
But is fire always harmful? Naturally occurring fires can be a force for renewal. Fires clear dead wood, enrich the soil, and encourage new plant growth. Some plants and animals not only have adapted to naturally occurring fires, but benefit from them. Unfortunately, each year sees far more fires than would occur naturally. Although lightning accounts for many fires in the western states, most unplanned fires on America's wildlands are started by people. And when people and fire come together, too often the result is tragedy. Careless, human-caused fires usually begin under the worst conditions, producing raging wildfires and burned homes. So preventing careless fires is essential, just like Smokey told us. To some of us, it seems that Smokey has always been around to remind us to be careful. But it was only when timber supplies were at risk in World War II that the United States looked for ways to spread the fire prevention message. The U.S. Forest Service organized the Cooperative Forest Fire Prevention Program. They rallied the Wartime Advertising Council, who created posters to encourage each citizen to personally participate in fire prevention as part of the war effort. And that's when Smokey was born. Smokey first came to life on the printed page. After considering a number of animals to represent the program, the Cooperative Forest Fire Prevention Committee agreed to use a bear. From the start, Smokey was popular. Named in part for the respected New York Assistant Fire Chief, Smokey Joe Martin, the bear was depicted as intelligent and appealing. He wore a ranger-type hat and blue dungarees. He put out fires with water and with a shovel, and most importantly, with words.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Smokey started his first poster in 1944, but in May 1950, Smokey Bear entered the real world when a small, badly burned cub was found clinging to a charred tree not far from Capitan, New Mexico. The Capitan Gap and Los Tablos fires, which most believe were started by people, swept over 17,000 acres. Hundreds of firefighters battled the blaze, which raged out of control for several days. A strong wind trapped a firefighting crew who were lucky to escape with their lives. In the blackened and bare forest, a frightened cub had lost its mother. The crew carried the cub back to camp, and then Ray Bell, a pilot with the New Mexico Game Department, flew him to a vet in Santa Fe. For several weeks, Ray and his family cared for the little bear. Right from the start, Ray wanted to name the bear Smokey. Pretty quickly, others agreed that Smokey the cub could help spread the fire prevention message. And it was true. Smokey was flown to his new home at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., where he grew into a very large bear. Every day of his life, he was visited by hundreds of children who were delighted to see him, even though he didn't look exactly like the bear in the posters. He became so popular that children around the world knew of him and his message. When Smokey died in 1976, he was brought back to be buried at Smokey Bear Historical Park, near the forest that was his first home. Smokey lives on in his fire prevention message, and people have been listening. The number of unwanted, human-caused fires has grown smaller. At the same time, fire agencies have learned about the role of natural fire. They discovered that if all fires are suppressed, even naturally occurring fires, then the forest loses an important tool to help it remain strong and healthy. In a forest that never sees fire, dead wood builds up and too many young trees compete for space. Dense forests can mean larger and more severe fires. They're expensive to fight and also put firefighters at great risk. In a healthy forest, however, a naturally occurring fire usually burns fewer acres and does more good than bad. Fire is nature's way of clearing dead materials from the forest, enriching the soil, and preparing the earth for new growth. For example, after the Yellowstone fire, grasses and plants not seen in the park for generations reappeared. They'd been given new life by sunlight falling again through forest canopies. The plants flourished in soil with mineral-bearing ash from burned stems, leaves, and roots. Learning from these experiences, fire agencies have realized that fire must be used wisely to benefit the forest. A prescribed or controlled burn is one way to introduce fire into a region. So even as Smokey's message remains important to us all, it's just one piece of a much bigger effort to care for our forests. We must all learn more about living with fire responsibly. Visitors who come to our forests each year must continue to heed Smokey's advice by following simple outdoor safety rules. Like putting out all campfires completely. But many more people than in the past now live near forests. Just as people and their property are threatened by wildland fires, wildlands are threatened by human-caused fires. Fire hazards in the wildland-urban interface include wood piles, propane tanks, wood-shingled roofs, and trees clustered too close to the home. So besides practicing Smokey's fire safety rules, these residents must also use simple techniques to protect their property and the forest, such as clearing nearby trees and stacking wood away from the house. As we discover all of the ways in which to care for our forests, Smokey's message remains our guide for preventing careless fires. It's one way to safeguard our forests, healthy forests, so they can continue to shelter plants, wildlife, and our future.
Smokey Bear Historical Park, Capitan, New Mexico. There's Smokey Bear. And you know what's weird? Growing up, I always thought his name was Smokey the Bear. I did not realize it was actually just Smokey Bear.
So it's just $4. And we have a little 10-minute video on Smokey in the theater. The next one will start at 1:45. 1:45. And out back is Smokey's Bear. So don't forget.
Exhibit hall.
Not even look in the museum and forget about the outside. Here's that guy's card. Thank you, sir.
Benefits and history of fire suppression. Okay, yeah. So it is. It's kind of like just forestry history and preserving the forests and trying to keep them from getting burned down by dumbass people. And then if lightning does hit, which you really can't control, how we can control a little bit of the fires that actually go on the ground.
It's a good memory, and it's wonderful because I know I like sharing the story with people and saying, New Mexico really has this big place in the United States for our history, and a lot of it is because of that. It's because of that, and I wish that Smokey and his nephew, because he did what nature had him do. Climb up a tree and not be able to sit down and what he was doing. That for him to come back
Campfire safety. Only you. The Capitan Gap Fire. Now we're back to where we started. There's a theater in there. Yeah, it looks like it goes around this way too. Smokey's grave, history of Smokey Bear exhibits. The campaign begins. The first Smokey Bear posters. Oh, pre-Smokey Bear posters. Oh, I remember that. Seen that at Bambi.
I was just thinking about what went down. Forest fires are no joke.
Smokey gets a junior forester ranger program. Only you. Smokey's funeral. Smokey Bear died at National Zoo in DC in '76. He was flown, his remains were flown to Albuquerque and then transported to Capitan. So they rescued him from that fire, and then once he got healed up, they took him to the zoo. Hey, what do we get here? There's a little red button. I don't think it worked. Smokey. All right, let's go out and see his gravesite. All right, so we got this little, I don't know what this is called, little park garden, whatever. And it's just got a lot of outdoor stuff like grasslands, life zone. All the different trees, flowers. Obviously this time of year. Whoa! Got some thundering going on overhead. Ooh, and some lightning going on there. So a nice little walkway, and it just tells you about some of the nature that's here. Pinyon juniper, stuff like that. Ooh, got some more coming. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! And I think this is his, this is his gravesite right here. I remember Smokey. There we go. He's 25 years old. He died at 26 years old. Well, since he was from here, so they brought him back, and this is where he was buried. So they thought that maybe concerns of vandalism and all that stuff. So I think they did it under, let's see. Yeah, so they did it, they kind of snuck him here basically, kind of, and got him buried so vandals wouldn't mess with it. So, there's his gravesite. And there he is on this tree, trying to stay out of the fire because his paws got really burned really bad. Yeah. This is the resting place of the first living Smokey bear in 1950 when Smokey was a tiny cub. Wildfire burned his forest home in nearby Capitan Mountains of the Lincoln National Forest. They found a badly burned cub clinging to a blackened tree and saved his life. Then he went to the zoo, which we just saw in the video. Huh. Pretty interesting, huh? Pretty interesting. Smokey Bear gravesite. So, we'll go around here and check this out and see what else we got. Yeah, starting to sprinkle a little bit. Here we got New Mexico Wildland Fallen Firefighter Memorial. Looks like here's their names. Oh, check this out. Resting place of the first Smokey Bear balloon. Remember those Smokey Bear balloons? You see them in parades?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not parades,
Yes.
Balloon Fest and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah. So they buried this balloon here too. Well, yeah, what do we got over here? Here's a little path going to, oh, I guess it's for people to take pictures with Smokey. Huh. Alright, go around here. Yeah, it's raining. Luckily we're under these trees so far. So it's not really punching through us yet. Punching through to us. Looks like they got a little pavilion area for some educational things to happen. It's a small little park thingy, but it's kind of cool because everybody's heard of Smokey. Whoa. Well, it goes somewhere here. I don't know. Looks like I got some kind of building. Looks like a little log cabin or something coming up. I don't know. I think if you go through that turnstile, you might not be able to get back in. I'm not sure if that's an innie or an outie. I think it would be an outie because it costs like I think it's like $2 a person to come in here. So yeah, they couldn't just let people. So that's got to be if you go out, you ain't coming back in. One-way exit. Oh, it's just a gift shop. Okay, just a gift shop. So we'll just keep on going around here, I guess. And like I said, most of this is just showing you the different type of trees and plant life and stuff that's in the mountains around here. Oh yeah, aspen. Don't forget our aspen. All right, well, I think we're coming back to the beginning where we started. So that was just a little quickie. I thought it was kind of cool. Oh, Smokey Bear's gravesite. Yeah. Oh yeah, here's some more different kind of plant life around the area. Capitan. Yeah. Capitan, New Mexico. And this is where we started. Smokey's garden. So, hope you liked that little short adventure. And, yeah, that's where we came out. Until our next one, we'll see you then. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
And that's all, folks.